submit the apology of the HOD and the CFO, who are currently engaged dealing with the expenditure issues, because we've got a session with the MEC now at 2. And also I'm made to believe that there was a submission of an apology for the MEC by SIPO. And I did not have the apology being read by the Secretariat. Thanks.
Okay, thanks, Acting DDG. Honorable members, those are the apologies which we have received. We will not, I think Member Schneemann have arrived. We will not accept the 2 apologies of our other members. We have agreed as the portfolio that our portfolio day, we are not taking any apology for party matters. We start first in our portfolio and then we go to our party member work. I'm also have a party work, but I've started here. Honorable members, I'm presenting those apologies for noting. Member Mahale?
I second, Chair.
Thanks for seconding. Can we move to confirmation of the agenda? Honorable members, I've done 1, 2, 3, and 4. We are now in number 5. Number 6 is the presentation by the Department of Human Settlement. 7 is the presentation by the department on all the outstanding petitions. 8 is the date of the next meeting. I'm presenting the agenda for adoption. Any mover?
I move for the adoption of the agenda, Chair.
Thanks, Member Mohale. Thanks, DS, for seconding the agenda. The agenda has been adopted. Can we move to, before we move to the business of the day, I think stakeholders, those that they want the gadget for translation, you'll raise your hand so that they give you the gadget. For English, you press 1. For Sizulu and Setsonga, you press 2. For Afrikaans is 3. For Sepedi and Setswana is 4. For Chivenda is 5. Can we see those that they want the gadget so that they give them? Can you distribute? Honorable members, we are now in agenda point number 6, the presentation by the Department of Human Settlement. I'll request the acting DDG to present or to do an opening, and he will delegate who will be doing the presentation. Acting DDG, I don't know who's leading this process. While you are doing that, acting DDG, I'm a little bit worried about the head of this corridor. Are they coming? Ustanley, Ugupi, Ustanley. Okay, because this is his constituency. For in case after our presentation they ask questions, they must assist acting DDG together with acting DDG.
No, certainly, Chair. I'll ensure that he's here.
Okay, over to you.
No, Chair, just to give a brief background on the subject matter. I think the program was introduced as far back as 2009, when the housing code came into being. It is only recently, during a 2018 MINMAC, when a decision was taken that we needed to actually give the National Housing Finance Corporation much more responsibilities. And that mandate, the NHFC had to then develop a policy, which policy then introduces the first home finance. The policy came into effect, I think, in 2022, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, in 2022. So the FLISP, it's more of an instrument. It's a subsidy instrument. The program is the first home finance. So I've got Tebogo from the NHFC, Maila, who's going to be taking us through that particular presentation. Chair, thank you very much.
Thank you, Acting DDG. Good morning, honorable members. Good morning, members of the community. Sanbonani, Dumelang, Abshene, Molweni, and yes, thank you very much. I don't know if we are able to flight it. I'm seeing myself on the screen. Thank you. Okay, so minage ikamalami, Tebogo Maila. I am from the National Housing Finance Corporation. The National Housing Finance Corporation is a state-owned company under the Department of Human Settlements. So ngamhlanje ke ngizonixoxela ngale housing subsidy ka government that is available ukuthi ingasiza where you want to acquire your first home as a citizen. Okay, so First Home Finance is the new program name, a housing subsidy. The housing subsidy kade iyaziwa njengo FLISP, but as Honorable DTG has mentioned, there was a policy change from the name FLISP to First Home Finance. So FLISP akasekho simnqwabile sesino First Home Finance. First Home Finance a housing subsidy. If I can please ask that we move the slides. I think we went a bit further. The second one after the opening. Okay, next one. Thank you. So we will just start off by answering the question, what is First Home Finance? If First Home Finance, it's a once-off housing subsidy. EWOT was developed by the Department
Ntate
of...
Maila, can we be professional? Can you come up?
Oh.
So that you read from the, yes, so that bakono bana, sa tlo emela o ka re re ko sekolo ngakera butaka.
Apologies.
Yeah.
Apologies, I did not get guidance, ma'am. Do I stand here? I can. I can. All right, thank you. Apologies, I did not get guidance. All right, so First Home Finance then, as I was explaining, is a once-off housing subsidy that was developed by the Department of Human Settlements, and it aims to assist with affordable first-time home ownership within the country. Its target market, First Home Finance, is your low to middle income households, and those are households classified as having an income starting from 3,501 rand to a maximum of 22,000 rand. This household market, it is what is referred to commonly as the gap market. So they find it difficult to raise finance from banks and financial services providers to buy their homes. But then again, they do not qualify for free basic housing from government because they have an income. So this policy instrument was developed by the department to try and address and assist that particular gap market. The subsidy works on a sliding scale. If your income as a household is at the entry level, for an example, 3,501 rand, then you may apply for a maximum subsidy amount, which is currently 169,265 rand. If you are earning the maximum within the income bracket, which is 22,000, then lapoge, you may apply for the minimum subsidy amount, which is 38,911 rand. And in between, we have an Enquire Quantum that breaks down then the amount you may apply for, ukuya ngomholo wakho ukuthi how much do you earn. And then in terms of the policy intent, why government put in place this particular subsidy instrument is just to assist, to stimulate and to expand the affordable housing market within the country, to promote vibrancy, progression, and upward mobility regarding the primary and secondary housing market. Lapho ke sichaza ukuthi mawuthenga indlu khona la uqala khona bese ke uyakhuphuka njalo ungaqala ngo 2 room kuye uyithengise i-upward mobility echazwa lapho ke. But very important to extend i-home ownership kulezi indawo esizaziyo ukuthi they have been previously underserviced or they've been neglected, and those we know as townships as well as rural areas. To also broaden options for accessing home ownership within the country. And then okunye futhi here, we work with banks. This is where we leverage private financial institution lending. So as our financial institutions lend imali to households for buying or acquiring their first homes, sisebenzisana nabo. Bayakhona ukuthi bangasiza labancede nge-subsidy. Thank you. Next slide, please. Okay. All right, so then, just by way of background, the former FLISP was first introduced in 2005 by government. And as Acting TTG explained, in 2018, there was a decision via MINMEC to say it must be relooked, overhauled, and revised as a policy instrument. So what used to happen then, Uguti, you could only apply for the subsidy once a bank had approved you for a home loan. So bekumele bank apply for a bond. If the bank approves you, then you could come and say, I now want to access the subsidy. The challenge with that way of accessing the subsidy was, number one, it was more implementable, the subsidy, within the urban areas because there is title to land in the urban areas. In the rural areas, it became a challenge. The other challenge was that it benefited mostly households who are at the higher end of the income bracket. So those at the lower end were not benefiting. So then what happened is, with first home finance, the policy has come up with other ways of accessing a subsidy over and above a mortgage option. So your mortgage option has not fallen away. It's a second. If you go to a bank, you apply for a bond, bayaga approve a bank. Ungeza yenge approval yakho usho ukuthi no. A bank, they've approved me for this amount in terms of ukuthenga indlu. And then a subsidy can assist you. One, if a bank ituguwe bring a deposit for le bond esikwa-approve yona. Lapho ke the subsidy can assist you to be your deposit for le bond. Or ingakusiza ngokubhadala ama-attorney fees. Because remember, once you buy a house, it must be registered, and legal registration is done via attorneys. So the subsidy can assist you in that regard as well. Lapho yes, sithi siyaqela singasathathi ama personal loan, ama credit loan or ama micro loan. Masithenga imizi kanjalo, size la si applyele I subsidy ize ikhone ukusisiza ukuthi sithole lezi ndlu. Kodwa ke even if the bank back approve 100%, so abafuni deposit from you, and you have your own money to pay your lawyers to register a property, ungeza still to apply for the subsidy before a registration yendlu. And then a subsidy izobhatalwa into your personal bond account. Uthi ize iyehlise lesikoloto ebank usheshe uqeda. So leyo option siyayiveza nje la as an old option, but isasekhona. So if you are approved for a bond, sicela usivakashele so we can assist you with a subsidy. Ezinye indlela ke zoku-accessa i-subsidy over and above lena ke eye bond ukuthi you can now use subsidy kuyiyo kuphela. You can use your subsidy ile yona fela, ungathathanga loan, ungahlanganisanga nemali yakho. If the subsidy is enough ukuthi ngakuthengela indlu, ikuthengele istand okanye ikakhele indlu, ipolicy yakuvumela ukuthi ungayisebenzisa kuyiyo kuphela. So practical example asithi ke kunama service site athengiswayo, kuthiwa mhlambe nayi site yathengiswa 80,000 rand. Uyeza uya-applya uthola ukuthi uqualifyela 100,000 rand ka subsidy. Subsidy kuyiyo ingakuthengela yona leyo service site, we own and end up ungenaso isikoloto kumele usibhadale back. Because asikhumbuleni ukuthi subsidy grant ebuya ka government, akusiyi loan, akusiyi imali ekumele uyibhadale back. Kulapho khona ke usebenzisa subsidy on its own. Enye indlela ke, if you have been approved for an unsecured home loan, le kwi private sector sekakhona ama loan akungase ama bond, but then they are for housing purposes. Lama loan lawa, if you are approved, ungeza naleyo approval usho ukuthi mina banga-approve for so much, ngifuna uku-applyela subsidy, combine subsidy nale approval yale financial institution ufuna ukwakha or ukhona ukuthenga ke umuzi wakho oqala. Mayukuthi emsebenzini la usebenza khona ninawo ama pension backed housing loans. Lama loan la ilama loan la khona ipension yakho okanye iprovident fund yakho bakuvumela ukuthi ungabhisa ngepercentage ethize as security for home loan. Bese ke wena ibank ikunikeza ama discount kuleyo loan nama administration fee aphansi. Uyakhona ukuza nayo ke leyo approval usho ukuthi as an example mina ngisebenza ka uSamu National Provident Fund, bangiphile ke home loan, ngifuna ukuyihlanganisa ne subsidy, ngithenge okanye ngakhe. And then our colleagues ke belong to government employee housing scheme. Eqaleni previously in the FLISP days, they were not allowed to access housing subsidy. But then with First Home Finance and the new policy, they are now allowed to apply for First Home Finance without losing their government employee housing scheme benefit, housing allowance. So they've got two benefits that can go towards assisting them to acquire their first home. Employer-assisted housing schemes, we are out in the market for those employers who have got housing schemes to assist their employees. We negotiate with them as the appointed implementing agent for the program. And as they assist their employees, they are able to extend a subsidy to them. This is very popular within the mining industry because a lot of mining houses have got these housing schemes in place. And then our community schemes, or stokvels, as they are popularly known. Lapho ke mayukuthi ukhona ukuthola loan for housing purposes via your stokvel, because ama stokvel avumela ukuthi bangabolekisana ngemali, baboleka kodwa amalungu wabo kuphela. They are members only, not outside their membership. Ungeza ngaleyo approval ukuthi no ngivusile mini loan la kwi stokvel, asihlanganiseni ne subsidy, ngikhona ukuthenga okanye ukwakha. I-installment sale agreement, mayukuthi uyathenga indlu umuzi wakho oqala, i-agreement ukuthi uzobhadala every month over a certain period of time. Ungeza uapplyele i-subsidy izokusiza ngokuthi yehlise i-outstanding balance under leyo agreement. And then i-rent to buy, mayukuthi uyaqasha, but i-agreement isho ukuthi no, mayiphela le lease, unelungelo lokuthi ungathenga la uqasha khona, your rent to buy. Lapho ke mawuso ready, so ufuna ukuthenga la uqasha khona, ungeza uapply subsidy izokusiza ngokuthi uthenge lowo muzi as your first home for your family. Your own resources, mayukuthi udisciplined, ukhona ukusave imali, ungeza usho ukuthi no mina ngisave na 20,000 rand yami, mhlambe ngifuna ukuthenga istand or ngifuna ukwakha, asihlanganiseni ke ne-subsidy, together they should be enough to buy or to build for you. But very excitingly ke, for our fellow citizens, abale emakaya, in rural areas, I always say, mangla eGauteng present ukuthi ubuningi bethu khona la sibuya khona. Ekhaya le mayukuthi usikelwe mhlambe inkosi la unelungelo lokuthi ungahlala khona. Banginikeze le yanqwadi ebuye enkosini, i-permission to occupy. Uyakhona ukuzwa ukuthi no mina bangisikele ekhaya, nginelungelo ukuthi ngahlala lana, nayi incwadi eshoyo ungathatha isubsidy wakheke kuleso stand. So lezi ke indlela esihlukene that you can use to access i-housing subsidy. Next slide, please. Thank you. All right, and over here, this is just a summarized version of the quantum. So ile ezokutshengisa ukuthi uya ngomholo wakho unga-applyela malini ye-subsidy. Ayiphelelanga lena, siyinciphisile nje for presentation purposes. Ikhona le ephelele esisherayo esikhona ukuyidistributor. Kodwa ikunikeza i-idea mhlambe asibheke la iline yes2 from phezulu. Umuntu ohola between 5,301 rand no 5,500 rand angakhona uku-applyela 156,000 rand eye-subsidy. Siloku sikhumbula ukuthi le subsidy akusiyi loan, you are not going to repay it. I-condition i-one nje, you can only apply for it once. So if uke wayithola, you cannot come back and apply for the subsidy again. So together with the new policy on first home finance, the subsidy is also now accessible by those who are self-employed. So the housing subsidy is not only for abantu abasebenzayo abanama payslip. Mayukuthi you are self-employed, uyayibhanka imali yakho, ukhona ukusinikeza i-bank statement ye-6 months. Etshengisa le mali uyitholayo from lo msebenzi lo usebenzayo. Uyakhona ukuthi unga-apply for i-housing subsidy. Next slide, please. Okay. So what can you use the subsidy for? According to e-policy, you can use it to buy an already built house. This can be a new house or an existing house. You can use the subsidy to buy a housing stand, but very important, leso stand kumele sibe connected to our municipal services and also be zoned for housing. This is to protect you as a beneficiary of housing subsidy, that ungaqini uthenga istand ewukuthi bekungamelanga sithengiswe. You can also use a subsidy to build a house we stand onayo already. Once again, leso stand kumele sibe nama municipal services, sibe zoned for e-housing. Mawakha kuleso stand, enye i-condition ukuthi umakhi wakho kumele abe registered no NHRPC. Once again, it is to protect you as a beneficiary, ukuthi le ndlu lozoyakhelwa kuleso stand yakho umuntu oyazi umsebenzi, lo muntu uyazi ukuthi ubani, ukhona la kwi-system. Nokuthi uze ukhone ukuthola i-warranty kuleyo ndlu for 5 years from NHRPC, because bazokhona ukuyi-register mayakho umuntu wabo o-registered nabo. Uvumelekile futhi ukuthi ungathenga you can build a stand, mause makaya, apologies, you can actually build on a stand kuma rural areas njengoba ngichazile la une letter le eshoyo le permission to occupy letter. So emakaya i-condition yakhona ihlukile nala emadrobheni, because siyazi ukuthi emakaya not all areas have municipal services. Lapho ke on the strength of that permission to occupy letter, you are allowed ukuthi ungakha kuleso stand whether akhona ama municipal services or agekho ama municipal services. And then i-subsidy ngakunceda ke lana mayukuthi uthole i-bond, ubhatala ama-conveyancer fees, ilawa ama-attorney fees, ama-transfer fees, ama-attorney fees, or ungayisebenzisela i-deposit and other house-related buying costs. Thank you. Next slide, please. So who can apply for a subsidy according to policy? South African citizens can apply, and permanent residents in the country can also apply. Kumele babe legally competent to contract, but very, very important. Siyasiqindezele le ndaba re hatella ntlha ena hore the target market for a subsidy akusama individuals. I target market imideni, malapa, households. And according to policy, households classify ngale ndlela. One, it can be any 2 adult persons living together under any arrangement but constitute a household. The arrangement can be cultural, religious, it can be marital, whatever. They constitute a household. Ba apply together, ba benefit together, mabangahlukana ukuya kwesikhathi abakhona ukuthi bangabuya individually bazo apply futhi ngoba seba benefitile. If ayiko i-co-applicant uyakhona uku-apply usingle but unama financial dependents. Ama financial dependents ke abantu awukuthi uyabawondla financially. Kwena bahlokometseng financially, all their financial requirements are under you. So those can be children, grandchildren, parents, grandparents, sisters or brothers. Sisters or brothers who are under 18, because once they are 18 and older, bangeza bona and apply in their own right. And your financial dependence, it is not a must ukuthi kumele kube ama direct relatives wakho. So maskulma ngengane asisho ukuthi le ngane ozele wena. Any children that are under your financial care, ungasho ukuthi no, ingane zakamfowethu lezi but ke zondlwa yimi. Lapho siyoqela ke i-affidavit e-police station that will just explain the relationship between you nale ingane lezi and nama certified copies wama birth certificate if they are under your care. So ama financial dependents kumele kube abantu ayukuthi bazohlala ku nawe under the same roof yale ndlu le ofuna ukuyaka. Okunye futhi ke mawapplyela isubsidy kumele ukuthi azange uzuyithole indlu yomxhaso under ugovernment. So mayukuthi uke wayithola indlu yomxhaso, it means uke wabenefita sekusizwa abanye ke sesibheka abanye. And then okunye futhi kumele ukuthi you have never owned a house previously or currently you don't own a house, because the purpose of subsidy is to assist with first-time home ownership. Labo abaza baqala ukuthi bangathenga or baakhe imizi for their families. And then income bracket into sizoyibheka kuqala mawapply subsidy, income bracket lega 3,501 rand minimum to maximum ka 22,000 rand. Mele bohola lapho ke. Le income lena angeke size sithathe i-commission no overtime. Because i-commission no overtime azikho constant. Ziyahluka njalo. 1 month ikhona, next month ayikho, this month 500, next month 800. So we don't consider any incidental income, commission no overtime. So yothatha nje i-basic salary leyo eholayo, makhona i-housing allowance sizoyi-add kule basic. Kuzoba yiyo le income esiyithathayo ke. Thank you. Next slide, please. Okay. So ama documents asizowaqela mawufuna ukuapplyela i-subsidy, i-certified copy ye-identity document yakho. Mawubhalise lana ingane ukuthi ama financial dependents wakho, siyoqela le affidavit that I explained, nama certified copy wama birth certificates wakhe. Mayukuthi we permanent resident within the country, siyoqela i-proof ye citizenship yakho. Mayukuthi you are applying under marriage, you are married as a couple, siyoqela i-marriage certificate, certified copy. Mayukuthi nishate ngesintu, lenyetse ka setho le ntse bohadi jwalo jwalo siyoqela lapho ke iaffidavit ezochaza lokho nale yancwadi lena ya elobola lengolo la mahadi mayukuthi udivorceile siyocela i-divorce settlement ize khona uqhaza ukuthi kwenzakalani ngengane mayukuthi khona ingane that are under your care awubaholelayo under i-child welfare siyoqela leya court order esho ukuthi uwe ophiwe le guardianship kubo bese ke siqela i-proof ye-income ebonisa ukuthi uhola within le amount leyana and then ke ama documents azoya nje ngokuthi lawayana ngiwaqhazile ka government la azobuya certified bese ke siqela la ahamselana nendlu ukuthi uyathenga or uyakha so mayukuthi uyathenga sizoqela ke i-offer to purchase or agreement of sale ezosho ukuthi nayi indlu house number 23 Ngobo Street Sebokeng nayi property oyithengayo or mhlambe uthenga istand siyoqela ke incwadi esho ukuthi nangu umasipala uyakuthengisela istand mayukuthi yakha lapho ke sizoqela iproof yokuthi le stand owakha kuso yesakho sisegameni lakho nokuthi building material yakho izokhosta malini nokuthi ne labor cost yakho izokhosta malini. Thank you. Next slide please. Mase sithole wonke lama documents mase processor i-subsidy siyoyenza ama checks ayi4 so we only run 4 database checks eyoqala yase home affairs ukuthi senze sure i-identity or i-residency status i-right kumele ithike lapho isho ukuthi konke ku-right eyesibili eyaka human settlements kula khona sizokhona ukubona ukuthi uke wathola indlu previously na or not ma igama lakho malingavela lapho lisho ukuthi uke wabenefita awukhona ukuthi ungasizakala la under i-subsidy enye futhi yaka UIF siyohlola laphayana ukuthi labo babhalise as your financial dependents bayasebenza or abasebenzi na mawungabhalisa ugogo uthi financial dependent yakho masihlola ka UIF simthole laphayana isho ukuthi uyahola angeke kube i-financial dependent if annual income enye ke i-database ES4 yogcina ile ka deeds office lapho kula siyohlola khona ukuthi uke waba nendlu esegameni lakho or unayo indlu esegameni lakho la amanye ama checks ajwayelekile o credit bureau checks ITC TransUnion affordability wonke la amanye ajwayelekile aswayenzi la under i-subsidy because this is not a loan you are not going to repay it it is a housing subsidy grant from government to assist you to buy your first home as your family. The only condition, you can only get it once. Thank you, ma'am. Next line. Okay. And then maybe before we move to the next slide, sorry if I can ask that we go one back up. Ukuthi uapply kanjani mawufuna ukuapplyela i-subsidy. Okay. So as UDTG explained, Tina as NHFC sine agreement in place no Gauteng as a province. Gauteng has said National Housing Finance Corporation sicela nisize ama residents ase Gauteng ngokuapplyela i-subsidy. So indlela yokuapply yethu ukuthi sisebenzisa i-online portal. So we have an online portal la ungakhona ukuthi uzapplyele wena ngokwakho in the comfort of your home. Anytime mawuthi une access uyakhona ukuthi unga-apply lapho i-online portal yethu ama applications they are in 2 processes eyokuqala ama pre-approval enye ama full application i-pre-approval ke ayifuna ama supporting documents when you apply for it only accurate information izoqela amagama wakho njengoba vela kwi-ID book iqela ukuthi uhola malini bese iyabuza ukuthi uapply nomunye okanye uapply nama financial dependents iqela ama details wabo And then after 24 hours, uqeda ukuyisubmit, sizokhona ukusho ukuthi ipasile or ayipasanga i-application. Mayingapasanga, sizokuchazela ukuthi why ingapasanga. The reasons that will, the most common reasons why a subsidy application won't be successful, ilama checks lawayana ngiwachazile la i4. Something is not right at Home Affairs, or igama lakho liyavela la ku-human settlements, uke wabenefita, or liyavela la phakathi its office, uke waba nendlu, or ama financial dependents wakho ayavela kwa UIF bayasebenza. Those are the common reasons why. And unalo ilungelo lokuthi ungeza uaphile leyo outcome mayingapasanga i-application. Kodwa ke mayipasile, we will issue you with a pre-approval letter esegameni lakho iveze ne-amount ukuthi uqualify la malini. So ungathatha le letter ke and shop around. Ungaya e-bank ubatshele bayayazi lapha e-bank sebenza nawo wonke ama-banks ukuthi ngithole i-subsidy pre-approval asiyenzeni i-home loan bazoyithatha njenge-deposit le subsidy approval. Ungaya ekhaya mawuya kaPaseka ufike ukhulume nabo lapho ukuthi no na imali ebuya ka subsidy asiboneni ukuthi izwanela na mangithola i-building code material ne-labor code ukuthi ngakha lapha ekhaya i-pre-approval leyo ke mawuse ready uyabuya ke wenza i-full application la khona ke we will ask you to please upload your supporting documents kuye le online portal kula khona ke sizo allocate leyo amount izosho ukuthi 150,000 owakade bokhomayila kumele ubhadale. I-payment masiyenza asibhadali kuwe njengo-beneficiary e-accountini yakho ukuya ngepolicy. We will pay to ama third parties who are assisting you nge-project yakho yokuthenga or eyokakha umuzi for ifamily yakho. So if you are building, sizobhadala i-merchant la uthenga i-material khona. I-builder yakho ngeke simnikeze imali yonke iphelele. Sizoyikhipha ngama-stage ayi-3. Foundation phase uzosho nawe ukuthi you are happy, release the next tranche. Sikhipha ukuthi abeka ibonda. Usho ukuthi nochubekane bese ubeka i-roof. U-NHRBC uzaloku eza naye azohlola ngoba lo muntu uregistered nabo ukuthi lo msebenzi awuyenzayo u-right. So i-release kanjalo ke imali. Makuyi bond so ibhadala to your attorneys for e-registration, also ibhadala to the bank to bring down i-outstanding balance yakho. So i-payment ke ngalendlela esebenza ngayo. I-system yethu iyakhulumisana nama-applicants wethu because inama SMS messages azokuchazela kutshela ukuthi ime kuphi i-application yakho kwenzakalani ngayo. Sine call center futhi multilingual, ungafona laphayana and get assistance in the language of your choice. Thank you. Next slide, please. Okay. Okay, kule slide nje ke siyesitshengisa ukuthi i-subsidy sepatala kakhulu within i-Gauteng province. Kodwa ke our focus ukuthi siye siphumele ngaphandle from Gauteng because within the MTSF period 73% of our payments have been within Gauteng, and understandably because it's the economic hub and ekula khona ama banks have been giving ama bonds, which is why Minmek decided ukuthi ake kube nezinye indlela zoku-accessa i-subsidy. Thank you, ma'am. Next slide, please. Okay. Right, and then under i-protocol agreement yethu no Gauteng, now ama figures ashoyo ukuthi sesibhadale kangakanani, sesiprocesse kangakanani, siyabona lapho ukuthi aluka ayakhuphuka. So we pay as and when ama developers nama contractors they are ready to register i-unit ilawo ma figures ke under uGauteng i-protocol agreement yethu. Next slide, please, ma'am. Right, so our concluding remarks really ngokuvala nje ukuthi sibongela lolu thuba relebohela mnyatla una siyabonga releboha haholo. I-subsidy ukuthi ize ikhone ukufikela abantu ngobuningi, we are very much reliant on collaborations with various stakeholders. This subsidy instrument, it's not a government employee instrument. It is not an urban area instrument. It is a South African instrument. So even if it does not apply to you, maybe you are a homeowner currently, we know someone who's in need. Pass on the information, refer them to us so that we may be able to assist. With that, I thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you. Oh, thank you, Ntate Tebogo Maila. Not Maile. Maila, oh, okay. Ra leboga, with the presentation of the FLIPS, no longer called FLIPS, ibitsiwa the first home finance. I think we need to go on with the campaign so that people should be able to understand it very clear. Because some of the people still in the old one, the name, now the name have changed. I'm not going to take the hands for questioning. Can we go to the second presentation, Acting DDG? Then after the second presentation, we'll take hands for questioning from the members and we go to the stakeholders. Yeah. The second presentation will be, I hope la know dane, the questions a little di butsisang. The second presentation will be on the challenges faced by the Gauteng Housing Fund that contribute to its disclaimer audit findings. Over to you. Nke ba o tlela setulo ngwaneso? Oh, okay, o ka kgona ho nna mola, go tswe. Okay. Ke nomfundo ne? Ke DDG nomfundo? Why you sa dumela? Okay, okay. Over to you, DDG nomfundo.
Okay, that's what happened. Okay, thanks. Yes. Kidumedisa Chaba, menese chairperson nasang introduce it. Kidumedisa li the colleagues tsaka kitoma pila ka yona legislature chairperson wa rona le di members ke rumilwe hore ke tlo presenta di challenges tse leng hore di lebeletse housing fund tse contributileng go outcome ba bitsang disclaimer ke tlo thoma ka background department ya rona e owner di property tse ntši tse dingwe re di thotse ka nako ela ra di inherita from many predecessors which were housing boards and are handled under yona housing fund ba bitsa housing fund mara ke gale ba re file hore re tswalele so ke entity e dormant and into dormant ura hore pila a se ntho e na le bophelo mara re tshwanetse re fetse dilo tse leng hore di ka hare so ka hara yona re na le di flat re na le di hostela re na le land and then le matlo di houses tse leng hore di tswa ko governmenting tsela tse tswang ko morao and then ka mo a re generate tšhelete pila because fela re a maintainer and then hape re patela di rates and taxes. Ura ore ke obligation ya motho o onang ntlo ka mokgwa o le tsebang. Ha ona le ntlo wa itse hore o tshwanetse o honore di rates and taxes tsa di municipality hore le bona ba kgone ho tswela pele. The business housing fund is managed by two critical functions. It's basically managed by property and asset management, and engwe is managed by CFO. So the accounts, the chelete, the trial balance, kamoka dilo tseo. And then the department here, inkile decision ya transfer the flat tseo li land to ba qualifying or the occupants they qualifying, to give the beneficiaries security of tenure in the form of title deeds, as well as hore re kgone dilaka issue ya the municipal cost burdens. And then devolution is also being done on properties that municipalities can use. Ne? So the housing fund has received instructions from the minister to close off by March 2025. And that and expected to, so the municipalities they expect already they accept the properties too. So the findings taruna pila tse toting, we got findings that range from revenue from exchange transactions specific to sale of property, where management could not provide support for occurrence and or cutoff of the recorded transactions. Without the transactions, tseo tsa di chelete, tseo leng hore batho ba itseng ne ba renta matlo a o gale, ba nong ra dispose akere. So interest income, the entity is also not in the business of selling property. Therefore, any proceeds from sale of property is incidental and should only result in profit or loss in sale of property, not revenue from sale of property. And then interest income is also calculated on the balance of debtors, which has limitations on existence. Thus, auditors could not confirm occurrence and rights and obligations of the transactions. So, kito na dilo tseo di ratletse ko Malakwane. Malakwane ke thaba ya ko Swaziland engwe no wela ka mohare. And then general expenses happen. There was no supporting evidence that had been provided to support the 171 million of municipal service charges recognized accrued in the current financial year, which was last year. Similar issues had been raised in the prior year. And then wabali tabaya loss on disposal of assets, where management could not accurately calculate profit or loss from sale of the property. And then projected misstatement was at the time 1,399,176. And then additionally, wabali limitations also in relation to completeness and occurrence of the transactions that had been disclosed, and the auditor could not confirm in any other form. And then property, plant and equipment, management could not provide evidence to confirm existence that the total debtors stated, and then they did disclose 262, and then this balance includes the debtors recognized in that year, which is 2022-23. So audit team could not confirm the balance by any alternative means. And then also receivables from exchange. Management could not provide evidence to confirm the existence of the total debtors as stated. Kayona amount ela nikibulela kayon. So the balance includes new debtors recognized in the 2022-23 financial year. So the auditors confirm. And then property, plant and equipment, the balance includes assets which were disposed before the year end, but are still included in the closing balance. So auditors could also not quantify the extent of the misstatement. So audit. And then payables from the exchange transactions, balance per listing, and annual financial statements did not agree to the supplier statements. Projected misstatement was 16 million. So, kitloya gibonse hore department e rileng thus far. Utila ka dilo tseo. So it shows progress in addressing the challenges tseo tse ba di thotsing. So specific to the rates and taxes charges expenditure, una di commitments tse management e di rileng. Management will adjust municipal services on the financials and lead schedule. And then management will review differences between the municipal expense schedule, lead supporting invoices, and then by the adjustments. And then to ensure hore municipal balances are supported with statements and proper records done on the aging report. But also service provider but itlo appointiwa hore itlo kgona thusa hore ha o iriwa di financials e kgona thusa mo di gaps di ding teng. So in essence una di unit state 2 tse responsible una di property e committee le hore e tla irang, and then the finance ya bulela hore tlo irang. So progress to date ya bontsha hore property already e confirmile di properties through asset register hore it will be accurate, so that it enable the accurate payments that the rates and taxes for the properties. And then also ratola cooperation ya di municipalities pila more bulela ka city of Joburg, ne? So municipality on the play ball ka hore le bona le ba pila wrongly, so at least no the acceptance so re clean up botlhe hore re kgone hore re disclose dilo tse right. So hona be no go cleaniwa up the assets tseo, but also the bills tseo tse linked to the asset register e leng teng e reviewang every quarter. And then finance ya committee le yona hore hona be no aba gona hore ba ire di adjustments ba tlo di ira ha re fetsa di 31 tsa March. And then ba prepare ba review the differences between the municipal expense schedule and supporting invoices and make the adjustments tse nete. And then finance also it will ensure hore ba bonse property hore ke tse dilo tse re di disclosang etc. So yona RFQ ya motho tlo thusang ifedito na be no. So ke go slide 6 ne. Incorrect trade payables, age analysis balance, property like ishilori asset register yona I confirmed already, except some, you know, there's still asset register ya change all the time. Our property ari regisa ya change asset register because iba minus akere say refill someone else. So adjustments dirwa all the time, month by month. And then quarterly ya disclose your here re-share yona treasury njalo njalo. So Rebecca Kali municipality hona mo hore ba close the accounts telling hore property se tsamaile ile ko shirin already. And then finance leona I corrected the balances ba di correctile, and then information by thotsing ko city of Joburg ba sa busy a iso feleli yona correction eo. So adjustment final a iso iriwe yet. And then the rates and taxes, municipal charges expenditure, nena liposo like bullets. But go confirmation of the properties that belong to the department, dina li proof hore ke tsa rona, so di tsene go asset register because dina li title deed ya teng. So di confirm hore the custodians tsa di property tseo, and then rona li DID happen na di property tsa yona. So it's basically distinguishing. Tse dingwe re di thotsi the property tsa city of Joburg. So re di khutledisitse go bona. Hore hawa re ka se patele di rates and taxes tsa lona ke di property tsa lona mos. So at least re lwane re bereka mogo. And then concerns on the PPE normally the concerns ranging from issues tsa asset register, never feel or incomplete, and nearly needy, nearly incomplete. So that cleanup towards completeness has been done. So also no reflection yeah original price, original purchase date yeah the assets, and then there was no original purchase cost yeah the assets too. Akere title deed ya bontsha hore o e rekile ka bokae, and then next time I rekiswa hape ya change njalo njalo. So mara re ko kae ka tsona dilo tseo. There's been, these things have been updated, all these things that the auditors had presented, de-updated already. And then, unali unit ela, 20 ribulele ka yona, because ki yona 20 libele, interested department. The audit findings, it's basically, ki bona ba tshwanetse ba guide department, or libereka hantle or so ba confirm ile hore e addressiwe le yona. And then, go ba le understatement ya PPE on restatement. Leona adjustments di rahetse ka di amounts ta ko asset register by user valuations teu, and then corporate governance leona I verify ile he. And then ko under finance bankile resolution ya hore under CFO bankile resolution ya hore ba enhance the financial accounting policy to state hore the proceeds teu that were received for the disposed properties, hence the full carrying of the amounts becomes a loss on disposal. So in conclusion, the sale agreements does not constitute ownership, transfer, but it's merely an agreement between the seller and the purchaser. So finance yona, it approach a officer PhD, urba guide, urba khono, disclosure byang, etc. So those agreements do need some heads to meet. And then ka PPE disposals, because now the commitment ya disposals memo, it's provide go AXA maraya provide akana kweo. Kina kweo AGR AXA tsena. Lina kwela barba mufa AXA tsena na kya disclaimer. So already those have been disclosed to AG and they've been provided. So honabe anong habata hape bato thola tse di tswaletswe gap eo. And then on rental debtors supporting statement, but some transactions had occurred in the prior year, but were only accounted for in the current financial year. So ko eo, the issue to be dealt with is the existence of receivables. So una di files recreatilweng after building a Bank of Lisbon ifile. So I'm sure go 80 to 90% conclusion on that. And then also the amounts that the data statement they excluded the interest portion because interest I calculated the system, calculator outside the system. So AG performed a recalculation. So this could not be corrected. However, it has been corrected internally. So batlo bona haba libella hona biano. And then interest income on outstanding debtors. The file recreation, like ibulete hore isetse hanyane hore ifele. By the time re auditor itabe ifedile, and then finance interest calculator like ibulete hore using the approved interest rate on the simple interest method. And then IHAG who are aware the methods say two say 20 di berekiswe. Sale of property, finance, okay, finance progress yabona by disclosing babuletse the amount ne reflected go trial balance the financial statements but I update nebana li pause ona li error elung hore ne li teng ko li schedule ene ba ishumisha. And then going concern assessment in accordance to CRAP. So the fund does not operate on its own and does not have a budget, was inka ko vote. So the projection will be highly impossible to be conducted as it depends on vote. So projection will be highly impossible, like Kibulela. So PhD u file department training ya CRAP so that it tlo kgone ho thusa ka yona aspect e. All right, miscalculation of donation received in revenue from exchange transactions. Finance, ibuletse hore management is correcting note EU, and then revenue from exchange credit, and then there's also revenue from non-exchange, which was a once-off incident and was reclassified as non-exchange. So classification EU ilukisitswe ka quarter 2. So, ha re lebella misstatement on the statements on material line items, by using yona asset register with the sale agreements to determine or de-recognize from a financial annual financial statements perspective. So, utlo fixiwa issue ya incorrect recognition ya the sale debtors. And then the proposed adjusting journals, the tlairiwa hona this year, Harry disclosure, and then extract elaya AFS after taking property, plant and equipment disclosure. Progress, ibonsa the extract of the annual financial statements after taking into account the above journals. So no journals required, only the note that needs to be enhanced. So this brings me to the last slide, where PPE existence, a non-submission of the documents stating, sorry. The properties, they verifiable, got its office, but also the deed searches, the provide you the thing. And then AG, that's why I engage the management. Katsona, if Bastragdisha utirisa yona system yona ela. So there's no issue here. Those deeds searches have been done. So for the convenience of all parties. So the discussion could be done. And then PPE disposals proceeds not recognized. Finance committee lehore in disposal of the properties that are not are no cash transactions and no proceeds. The full carrying amount becomes the loss on disposal as shown on the profit and loss on sale on assets reconciliation process. So there's nothing received. So transaction was not for financial gain. Therefore, it was disclosed akamho. So kilebucha sbaka Chairperson, thank you very much.
Thank you, TTG Nomfundo, for the presentation. Stakeholders, those that they want to check their status in terms of the application for houses, there are people outside. I hope today their systems are working, acting DDG. Okay. If how about to check hore since you apply maybe ka 1999, 2000 to 2001, you can go and check and come back. But they are outside. Go and check so that you get a feedback. You go and tell Councillor Mthembu that chairperson of human settlement, they didn't even assist us on some of the issues which we wanted to raise. Yeah, thanks for the two presentations. The first one was the one of the first home finance, and the second one was the challenges of the housing fund, which was raised by the Auditor General, and at least DDG Nomfundo have explained to the committee together with the stakeholders on how some of the issues are addressed. Bommebaka, alisa maele mulebangere. All right. Ninyako cheka dintlu. Now I'll take the hands from the members in terms of, do you want to say something, Acting DDG? Colin?
No, thanks, Chair. If you permit, we would like to do the third presentation. It's about 3 slides. It's very short. So what we.
Which presentation is that
On
one?
petitions.
No, the petition, don't forget that the petition only is meant for us members. We are not going to release the stakeholders, but we want the stakeholders to engage on the two presentations. Then the one year, the petition is an update to the members in terms of what has been handled, what is outstanding, and from which corridor. Yes.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thanks. Honorable members, I'll take hands for a question based on the two presentation. If there are no questions or hands for questions, Member Sneeman.
Thanks, Chair. It's on the presentation that's just been, and good morning to everybody, and to other members as well. Good morning. Yeah, it's in relation to the housing fund, and the presentation has just been made now on the audit findings. I was just going through it and scrolling through. I mean, there's the findings by the Auditor General, and then there's key management commitments, etc. And when one goes through this, one gets a sense that there is insufficient capacity. That's the sense that one gets. Because everything is saying, no, they'll do this, they'll do that, they'll do the other thing. And just seems to me that there isn't sufficient capacity in that fund or in the unit that manages that housing fund. So I just wanted to check what are the plans of the department to improve the capacity? Because it's a long list of matters here. And, you know, in other departments, you don't often find this, or in other reports of the AG, should I say, you don't often find, you know, the responses that keep saying, we'll fix this, we'll fix that, we'll do this, we'll do that. And that's why my observation says to me there isn't sufficient capacity. And I think we just need to know what is the plan going forward to improve that capacity and to hopefully improve the audit opinion as well. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Member Schneemann. What is the plan with regard to improving that? Member Mkhale?
Thank you very much, Chair. Just one question to the National Housing Finance Corporation. You know, Ntate Maila, as you were going through the presentation, there's a lot of information, and I was asking myself the accessibility of that information to our people. Do they know about this housing financing cooperation or program by the department? And it will also go to the department to how do they make our communities know? Because, you know, our people, some don't want these RDP houses, but they don't have enough money to buy. Do you have any roadshows that goes to our communities to inform them and, you know, I'm from the rural part of Gauteng, and I don't think they know, or they do have this information. Yeah, just a concern into how do we take this to the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Mahali. DS, are you fine? DS? Maybe fine. I think what acting DDG and DDG Nomfundo, I think if my memory serves me correct, what Member Mahali is asking, I think it was last year where we requested that the department should do an awareness campaign for the FLISP, you remember? And taking from what Member Mahalish is saying, was there any awareness campaign done? Because that was the request of the committee, Member Schneeman. That was a request of the committee, that it will be advantageous to the community and stakeholders to get the information in terms of the first. By then we were not aware of the change of the name, the First Home Finance. Was that ever been done? You'll respond. Because maybe if it is done correctly, we will be reducing the number of people who want the RDP, those that they even qualify to get the subsidy. Or maybe it will assist in another methodology in terms of reducing the workload of the waiting list of Gauteng. Because some of the people who are in the waiting list of the RDP houses, they do qualify now. Some of them, they are working. Some of them, they get that 3,501. But as long as we don't have those awareness campaigns, we will have a very long waiting list, and people will be complaining that there is no movement, particularly in this, this corridor where we are. It's definitely a Westernly on what I'm saying. Can we get the response before I go to the members of the stakeholders? Le lona le tlo botsa di question ne, e re ba fetse ba answer the members, then we come to you. Acting. Hele sa thuseha go ntle in terms of the issues tsa lona tsa ntlo le ska lwa ne le boemo rona le re bolelle pila ne.
Dumelang hape. In relation to the issue of capacity, I can confirm that finance has also leveraged on other finance officials to assist where the problem is on payables in particular, which is the main issue. So there is capacitation at that level, but also the finalization of a service provider to also assist and enhance that process. But also there's been, capacitation in terms of training, like I confirmed in terms of GRAP, there was also value add from Treasury. So in essence, there's also the CFO and the DDG that is speaking at this point, who has been capacitated to assist. I am confirming that from a property and assets, I'm driving that process, but the CFO, as the CFO for both the fund and the vote, is also overseeing the pure financial aspects. So in essence, I think that should take us somewhere in terms of the improvement. Thank you.
There is a follow-up waiting, Tate Maila. There is a follow-up.
No, thanks for that response. But so we are at the end of the almost at the end of the current financial year. And this was the, where is it? This was, which financial year was this? This must have been 22, 23. Okay. So I want to just find out what steps have been taken and what steps have been implemented to ensure that for 23, 24, there's an improved audit opinion from the Auditor General in terms of the findings, etc. Has work been done to ensure that we don't have these findings become repeat findings in the current financial year? And do you anticipate, I know you can't predetermine what the AG will do, but do you anticipate that there will be an improved audit opinion based on the work that's been done in this current financial year. Thanks, Chair. And sorry, I asked that question because obviously the term of office, the term for the legislature is coming to an end, and one would just want to understand what are we looking at going forward. Thanks.
I think in analyzing the heavy findings, and which have a ripple effect, if you check finding 1, finding 2, finding 3, they have a causal effect. So there is reconciliation that is underway, obviously championed by the CFO in terms of the reconciliation. But what has happened also is the issue of the asset register and its accuracy and completeness was critical, which has subsequently been verified. Over and above that, what was done was to therefore liaise with the third party, which is basically the municipality. The municipality that was basically affected, if you read the audit report, it would point you to the city of Joburg. So what was done, yes, I just joined in December when there was no one, basically. But at least that gave a reflection of what are the challenges. And in reflecting, I then organized meetings with the city of Joburg in January. And we met with the city of Joburg, and we did find out that the billing process is flawed, but flawed not intentionally, not to blame the city of Joburg, but you know there are issues there on the billing perspective. So we had to do a detailed process to clean up the aspects where we are billed as a department. And we went in detail to say, City of Joburg, you can't bill us on these. Remove them from your account billing process. They are not ours. And some of them we had to categorize to say these ones are owned by the City of Joburg. These ones are owned privately. There are properties that have been devolved to municipalities, and using deed stamp and all other available means to say, in a detailed form, let's do it together. So we had resolved and envisaged that by February we would have concluded, but unfortunately the finance reconciliation is also underway on the other side under the CFO, where they are reconciling issues of accounts, how much has been paid or how much is owed. So I can't confirm because the CFO is not here for now, but he can respond in writing should there be such issues. But I can confirm from a property and assets perspective that indeed that reconciliation process, we can enumerate what has been done in taking the asset register to a convincing process, but also emphasize to the city that you can't bill us outside the asset register. That will actually lead you to understand that if you look at the asset register and you bill us outside that, that becomes an exception report. And it has to be apportioned somewhere, and someone must take their liability. So our interest from a property and assets perspective is to therefore confirm whether our liabilities have been taken care of, whether, and we take it to finance to say, we confirm, this is a process that we've brought on board to say, no, you need to pay based on what we've confirmed. So you need to reconcile what you've paid in prior years, we don't know, but confirm on those. So that cleanup is there, but I can't confirm the extent because it's still underway. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nomfundo.
No, thank you. Honorable Memohale, in response to the question, maybe just to point out that the new First Home Finance policy, we could only implement as of April of 2023, when guidelines were issued for the implementation of the policy. So since then, we've really recognized the need to create more awareness. And what we have done from April 2023 to now is that we have partnered with public sector partners such as SALGA for one, where we are creating awareness through local and district municipalities, per province. We've touched on a few provinces. We will be arranging one for Gauteng, where we ask them to get together all their housing officials under their municipalities, so we can impart information on the subsidy to them. We have ran radio campaigns and social media campaigns as well. You might have heard, if you do listen to Radio 702, sometime later part of last year, the radio ad campaign was live, informing on First Home Finance. We do partner on all the imbizos, and this is also our plea and request to Salga, being our partner, to say we would like to tag along with them and to be present so that we can create this awareness on the subsidy. As we speak now, the office of our CEO has undertaken a metro and municipality roadshow. They have gone out. DDG was just asking about my colleague, Matthew Sidhu. He's been deployed there. They have gone out to create awareness at those particular as phase 1 metros, and they will then extend it to the other local authorities as well. We've had engagements with the city of Joburg. I have an upcoming date with Mogale City, and we are really creating this awareness. And we do admit there is a lot of work to still do in terms of creating this awareness. And we do undertake to say that we will explore all possible avenues in creating this awareness, ma'am. Thank you.
Thanks. Chair, just to complement the submission by the NHFC, just to indicate that as a department, we're able to digest the policy shift that is there. And in that, because at the beginning we're very much skeptical. If you check our target for this particular financial year, we would have put in 23, and we have surpassed it by well over 100, because it was only introduced in April, per se. But now we're much more confident to actually give in much more higher numbers. And I can also indicate that we have also entered into relationship with, for instance, your PRASA, in such a way that we go to various stations, your much more popular stations like your Joburg station, wherein we are able to communicate some of our savings offerings as a department. And one of those savings offerings is the First Home Finance. We also are all engaging on community outreach on a weekly basis. So in the offerings that we also do, we also communicate about the NHFC as well. So there's a lot that we're actually doing. But I think what is key, Chair, in this particular program is that you would find those that are earning between 3,500 and 7,000, in fact to 15,000. The banks are very reluctant in giving them the bond. And I think one of the submissions that we would have made through the drafting of the new white paper is to at least try and change in terms of the criterion. Because truth be told, if you're earning 7,000 rands, it means all that money goes towards your groceries and transportation. There will be no bank, meaning that you'll never qualify for a full subsidy coming from the NHFC. So those are some of the challenges that we're encountering. But also to support the statement by DDG Nomfundo is that we may have neglected the housing fund, but I think now with the new structure of the department, we've got a new structure. That is why now it has now been elevated to a DDG level. There are posts also still to be filled to ensure that at least it now runs smoother. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, DDG. At least that's better. And Ndate Maila, the imbizo say, ladies, is it presidential imbizos where you explain this, make awareness, or is it the, I don't remember since this administration, Ronald Imbizo. Am I right? Have we ever had this imbizo in this 6th administration? No. Is it the presidential imbizos? And then the other concern is you know, your point of departure, you're talking about the district municipalities, forgetting that Metros doesn't have district municipalities. I think if you can expand your awareness, I don't know, because you are partnering with Salga, that their approach should change a little bit. Not only, we do have a DDM, but if you consider the metros, they must come with a different strategies. I need to ask my councillor. Today, the stakeholders are here, councillors are in a council meeting. It was better if I think we have invited 3 councillors. If they were here, they will be able to take the information in their community meeting. The acting DDG, my concern is that information should be shared in a community meeting. It's where things are happening. We have the imbizo, in an imbizo, kuzathina abogogo asebenza ngithi ngisekhaya, I will be able to attend imbizo. But if there is a community meeting called by the councillor on a Saturday or on a Sunday, when the matter is outlined to the community members, to their constituency, it will be able to reach a lot of people. I mean, I'm interested, is it a presidential imbizo? If yes, in other words, last week your group was at Wheatbank.
Yes, ma'am, indeed. We were present at Wheatbank. It has been in the main presidential imbizos, but we have also had community engagements, not more so within Gauteng, but with the metros, as you point out. Through the office of the CEO, we are having a roadshow targeting metros. So different strategy, as you rightly point out, when it comes to dealing with metros. But we stand ready, available to impart this information on invitation. We are only a phone call away.
Okay, thanks, Ntate Maile. Can I note the hands of the stakeholders, those that they want to ask the question related to the 2 presentation? 1, I want to know the hands. Okay, it's only 1. You introduce your name, you introduce 2, 3, there are only 3. You introduce yourself for Kwena Mang, Utlakai, God Mang, so that we keep record.
Sanmonani, Elame Kamango Peace Victor Bambane. I'm from Ward 35. I'm a Ward Committee member. Thanks for the presentation, but I'm a bit worried because it doesn't include informal settlement. So I don't know if ever maybe I can proceed. Because not is nothing. Yeah, La Ewa 35. I'm from a place called Tugatole. Tugatole is formalized, but the problem azange ya proclaim. Siyezwa njenge here say ukuthi proclaimule, but there is no document state ukuthi Tugatole has been proclaimed. Then the problem is that abantu bala area bonke abakwazi uthola ama title deed. Indawo has been yona iyaserviswa ngumasipala, inamanzi, flushing toilets, in electricity, but ayiformalizwanga. Secondly, the area is surrounded ngama informal settlements, of which are congested. Secondly, service by Tata manje ku formalize stands because by Tata electricity illegally, and then isinikeza inkinga in between. Okugcina sinomhlaba lapha wefaka nyawo. It's a land be a mine since mine yavalwa, I think 1988. Up to date, land is hlalele but ye old mutual, but akwenziwa lutho kuyo. Kaningi esikhuluma nomasipala ukuthi no why anga yenzi i-reblocking lapha just to assist offload abantu eDikatolo and then abafake lapha. So the problem ukuthi indawo bathi under private sector and umasipala awakasawuthengi umhlaba. So asazi as a province ningas-assista because I think 2 weeks back ku previous sitting council i-councillor iye yafaka ilokuzana ini i-petition to petition i-land yaseFakanyawo including i-issue ye-proclamation yaseDekathola. Thank you.
Thank you, 35. Number 2.
Molweni, ndiyavuya uba lapha namhlanje. Sinezikhalazo ezininzi ndise extension 9 ward 93.
Igama mama, cala.
Igama lam ndinguNomathamsanqa Nkosana. Ndihlala e9 extension 9 iDukathola. Sineziganga lapha kuthi seplaza. Abantu bayafa day and night. Mna sendibuya nale eJoburg siyokhuluma nabanikazi bomhlaba. Azange abezi abantu bayatshona eKhuthalo kwakuhamba itrain akuhamba itrain. Kunezindlu nje ezihleli lapha ezingasebenziyo. Sijongene nale problem umuhla nezolo. Uplaza umane sithi uzawuza azoklina uzawuza azobona iplan ngesiganga. Is a bush sihlala ebushini. Lapho umuntu ubulawa day and night. Zihleli iziganga zibulala abantu. Bengicela uqonda ukuthi kwenzeka kanjani. Okokuqala ndiyava kuthethwa ngezindlu ezithengisayo. Abantu abanamali yokuthenga izindlu balindele ukuthi benzelwe ama-RDP. Siyaphuma thina sikhankasela abaphathi. Baphathi kake nisincediseni, kake nisenzeleni izinto ezi-right. Ndiyacela.
Siyabonga 93. Number 3. Ukakwati mangithi. Sizele lana sizokhuluma. Ukakwati. Number 3.
Oh, sanibonani. Lo khuluma go Joseph Agambogane uhlala eKatlehong e59. Abobhuti nosisi bakhuluma izinto ezinhle mara besibaqala ukuthi beze kuma public kuma ward wethu ngoba abantu abaningi baselele emuva abekho and abantu abaningi balufuna lonke losizo abalukhulumako and bakhuluma iqinisa mara alifiki ebantwini and uma bangathatha ukuthi bafike ebantwini kakhulu mayelana nezindlu ngama subsidy abantu abazi ukuthi kwenzakalani uma bangatry ukuthi baqhumane nama council umenze public meeting babe khona. Ngiyabonga. Thank you.
Thank you, 59. Any other one before ngivala? Let's see akimoya ne. I'm taking the last 2 hands, number 4 and 5.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Let me greet everyone here. My name is John Mukwena from Ward 93. I'm a ward committee. Mina lapha Ward 93 ngihlala eKuthupu. Yes, presentation sayizwa sayamkela futhi, but it's not talking to abantu bangasebenzi at all and ama pensioners. So now, as we are representing the community, I think Ikuthope Mausokala Etropeno Yago is less than maybe 3 kilometers. But since Lamkuku Yahlala Lapa since 1995, if I'm not mistaken, it's almost 29 years now. And they came, a human settlement came and by Nzama geotech test, everything audit. After that they said no, I into a shegilo go to Masil Tangelom Saba, so was relocate. Up until now, since Silinda Lindo got is relocated. But at the end of the day, Satola reported I almost palo Tagasa Tangum Slab. So now I asana temper, be still again women settlement, at least because of the more it delay back on is the more abandon about cola na by Mukuku Twala La Paya. Ungafika state city 4,000 people, but after 2 years, city maybe more 6,000. So the more go delay is the more go twal. and icrime iyanyuka because of imikhukhu isihlangene kakhulu. Siyacela please mihlaba ekhona la around at least alizameni ukuthi at least ohlala lisithengele lo mhlaba le around sokwazi ukuthi at least ku relocate abantu bahlala lapha ba ready for everything because of zonke lezi zinto ekukhuluma ngazo zenziwe. Geotech test yenziwe, audit yenziwe, into esoshota nje ukuthi hayi kuthiwa nangu umhlaba wenu ke sa relocate lo ngena khona. Thank you.
Thank you. Number 5.
Sanibonani. Igama lami ngumzamo ngesibongo ngokwamthetho. Ngibuya eWard 85. Ngiward commit futhi. Ake sibulele ireport yizi ingakhulumi ngathi thina sihlala emkhukhwini. Esingasebenzi esingathola 3,500 to 22,000. Mina benesicelo nje siwani ukuthi ngoba sikhuluma kahle nomnyango we-housing ukuthi wona awusithengele umhlaba isinikeza ama-service stand sizoyibonela sakha kanjani. Nje basihlala nje emkhukhwini la idikathole icrime iningi ziningi izinto ezenzakalayo njengoba mama kade ekhala lapha naphezulu lingasefa kanyawo. I'm sure 20 people bashonile be-rape. Umasipala uthi umhlaba ka-Transnet lo yana waPras uPras uthi hayi uzozogunda. And there's 20 people ishonile rape lapha. Akwenzeki lutho. Thank you.
Thank you. Number 6 is that lady is the last one. Those that they want to ask questions, can you write them down and give them to who's managing the desk today?
Sanibonani Chairperson.
Emma kancane sis.
Okay, thank you.
Who's managing the desk for questions? You can proceed while they're still going to check.
Okay, thank you, ma. Dibulisile Chairperson, bonke abantu. Nandi nginoma wethu Mbetha, disuka Good Hope, 93 Ward Committee. Mina ebengisacela ukujokanye ukuveza ukuthi sekethethile ubhuti uJohn Mkwena. Good Hope since ngo-1995 njengoba besitsho safika pha sahlaliswa kathiwa sihlala nje kwesikhatshanyana then sizawuphinde sithuthwe manje ayi iminyaka miningi Chairperson sikhala ngento A1 eGood Hope as a result ukuthi eGood Hope safika I think imikhukhu yayi 124 but manje inowa singapha kwa 10,000 yemikhukhu oko salinda and okubuhlungu manje dingatsho ukuthi abantu ababe phambili bama council baba nenhlanhla because abekho kulezi zicathula eseke kuzo ngokukhansela Mthembu ngendaba zezindlu abantu manje sebekwatile and kunogogo abadala bafika emkhukhwini emikhukhu yakhona seyize ingodwezi zihamba phezulu ayisekho nje impilo eright eGood Hope imikhukhu ka 95 if you can check from 95 until namanje samile imikhukhu iyacha ukusuka pho ngoku eniyatshiswa abantu bakhathele bayayichisa ngamabomi imikhukhu ngoba beloko bethi oko wena Jeff lokuthi uyaza no human settlement usenzela ntoni and ngoku abantu bagcina sebedlana bodwa ngoba kusuka abantu kwezinye izikwata camp beze bazongena la eGood Hope ngenkani ngoba ngani kuyi Good Hope abantu base Good Hope bagudi njengegama lakhona kusuka abantu apho besuka khona bafike benzeni every day mawuphume waye shop uba nenhlanhla mawubuyile ngoba sidutyulwa ngabantu esingabazi and ngoku basithathela yona lemikhukhu esikuyo so mina nje esami isicelo bengisacela ukuthi Chairperson mama Gogo Ndlovana ake nikhupheni ukhansela wethu kulankinga akakuyo usenkingeni nyani ubaba uMthembu nathi siyacela kudala sahlala eGood Hope mari esiya isimo hayi asisekho mnandi kwisite lakhe because nobe busy public meeting kuthiwa nanku ufikele nalamanga wakhe ka settlement nobu wenza ntoni akasakwazi nje ukuthi afile free as council because of housing last besise Binoni nakhona bekuthiwa sidibene nowanisana kwakunguyomnye settlement naye saphuma sathenjiswa nakulo yanyaka saphuma sathenjiswa namanje hayi sisacela shemsi uGood Hope enkosi.
Enkosi Good Hope, I know the challenges of Good Hope very well. Angithi ngihlala no councillor Mthembu ku management meeting. Yeah, we know them. Ngiyazwa bonke nikhuluma ngeGood Hope. Na ku Duga Thole or 35, we know the challenges. Acting DDG, I don't know who's going to lead. Is it yourself or Stanley? In terms of, but you should differentiate some of the issues belongs to the municipality. It's just that they are in council. We invited the MMC for Humans for Housing and also some of the officials and the councillors. But due to the council meeting, they couldn't come this side. Like Surko Council and council must have a quorum for them to proceed with issues of council. I hope litla utlusisa bana ba go haene. It's just that council was not planned accordingly or during the day human settlement there will be a council. Because our intention was the council, the MMC to be part of us and take the issues which they belongs to the municipalities and make a commitment in terms of in front of the committee that how and when are they going to be able to give the response to the community. Acting DDG.
No, thanks, Chair. The issues raised are mostly similar. And maybe just to firstly address the issue of the programs that we're not necessarily speaking about because we're only invited to do a presentation around the National Housing Finance Corporation on the first home finance and the issue around the housing fund. But we can't leave here without responding to some of your issues because we're coming from a Department of Human Settlement. I think important is that as a Department of Human Settlement, we've got various programs as a runner. We've got a program called an IRTP program, which is mainly your giveaway houses, your RTP houses. Those are for people that are earning between 0 to 3,500 rands. That is why first home finance, we call it 3,501 rand. So for an RTP house, you must be able to earn between 0 to 3,005. So mostly you'll find abantu waiting list. It's mostly people that are actually earning that amount of money. And the only challenge you may have is that in this province we've got almost 1.3 now. We're sitting on 1.223 million. So now we're around 1,290,000 people who are on our demand database. It increases by 30,000 on an annual basis. And yet we can only build 10,000 housing units, which is a bit scary. And one of the questions that you always ask is, with this program that you are running, is it, I always ask a question to myself, whether it's sustainable, is it affordable? But it is a question that maybe the policymakers will have to address as we move forward. So it's one of the programs that we have. We've got also a program for social housing. For those that would have benefited who are coming from, let's say, for instance, they've got a house in another province. We've got rental stock here, which is subsidized by government, which is slightly lesser than what you will find if you must go and rent a townhouse somewhere. It's another program that we have. We've got a program for hostel redevelopment. So we've got different programs that are there. It depends exactly what you want and where you are. And and I always want to narrate the story, that as I speak about the people that are abatleligu demand database set, those that have registered only in 1996, we are still having about 103,000. 103,000. And if we must be selfish and say we're going to be considering only those that have registered in 1996, it will take us 10 years to finish that list. So we always try to strike a balance. Remember, also in Gauteng, issues around land, we don't have land. If we're in the Northern Cape, I'm sure we'll be taking a different story. But here we're also doing high rises. And in the high rises that we do, some of them, we call them res 4s because it's a 4-story building, others are res 3. Once you start putting somebody at the age of 60, because they would say they would want that house. And I'm sitting with problems now, Chair, because somebody who was 60 5 years ago is now 65. They are using a walking aid. They are now coming to me and then saying, can't we be moved to a ground floor? So those are some of the challenges that we're actually grappling with. But coming to your issues around Tugatolo, we are saying there are feasibility studies that would have been done. And the reports would have been obtained by the municipality. And it's unfortunate that the municipality is not necessarily here, but I'm aware of projects that we're actually implementing that will benefit this particular area. We've got a project which is implemented by the city in Vosloorus, which is also going to be benefiting your Germiston area. We've got a project in Pambridge. We've got a project as well in Zagane, which is benefiting the community this side as well. But I must stress as well that when I say so, it does not necessarily mean that everyone else that resides in an informal settlement will benefit. Remember, kuna criteria that we always use. You must be a South African citizen or hold a permanent residence permit for you to qualify. You must be over the age of 18. You must be of a sound mind. It's almost similar to the qualifying criteria that was mentioned earlier on. However, this one you must be earning between 0 to 3,005. But again, we have done what you call an allocations policy, meaning that we can't just then say, because you apply ile siyakufaka. You've got people that have registered between 96 and 99. We are prioritizing those particular people. We are prioritizing those that are over the age of 60 and above. We are prioritizing military vets. We are prioritizing persons with disabilities. We also have special cases as well that we're also prioritizing. And I'm aware that Ekurhuleni has got a relocation policy. I can't then tell ukuthi abantu abasuka eDugatole but iplan yeEkurhuleni ithi bazoya kuphi. But all I can indicate is that our own submission or responses will not necessarily end here. Like Uputi, Ubeshilo, no, Usis Noma Tamsang, Mam Noma Tamsang. I think we'll make it a point that there is much more better engagement and interaction between the department and the communities, such that the programs such as First Home Finance, people get to know about it, and the other programs that we actually do. Because it's also important as well to understand, because sometimes other people think Utimagu waiting list. You automatically qualify for a house. And being in a waiting list does not necessarily mean you qualify. There's another process as well, wherein you must fill what you call a subsidy. Fill a subsidy application form, which will be captured on the HSS system. So once HSS system make approval, it's only then that you benefit. But being on the housing waiting list, you can find from the 1.3 that I speak of, only 800 qualify. Remember, I'm a situation where I change every day. I can get married, or somebody can get married to somebody who now earns more than 3,500, meaning that you will no longer qualify. Or meaning you will no longer qualify for that particular program. So what we'll normally do, we'll make sure that we try and expand our beneficiary empowerment program as much as possible, such that such questions does not arise, because I believe if I must explain something to you, you will be able to explain it to the others that you lead in your constituencies. Chair, I'll end there for now. But before I end, there's an issue around the service sites as well. We also got a program called Ikacheling, wherein we give people service sites, anamanzi, ana-electricity, ana-sewer connection, kunomgwaqo, there's also roads, there's also lighting. But again, that particular program is focused on the gap market. Gap market meaning those that are earning between 3,501 to 22,000. Because what we don't want to do is that we give you that particular site, then we don't start seeing any house coming up. Because we're trying to avoid, we're trying to close our informal settlement. So we're creating different programs to accommodate everyone else in what we do. I think I would have responded to all of them, Chair. Thank you.
Thanks, Acting DDG. Is there any follow-up? I think it's clear, ne? It's clear. Honorable members, any follow-up? Can we move to agenda point number? Agenda point number 6, the presentation by the department on all outstanding petitions. I hope the presentation is in line with the request by the committee. Acting DDG, over to you.
Good day, Chairperson, and good day, members and the House at large. Good day, Chairperson, and good day, members of the Human Settlements Portfolio Committee, and also good day everyone who is here. My name is Yvonne Malaza. I'm from the Department of Human Settlements, from the HOD's office, Executive Support. I will be presenting all outstanding petitions received from the legislature to the department. Chairperson, thank you. Okay. I will be presenting the petitions. From what we've received from the legislature, I will be presenting all outstanding petitions. We, as a department, we tried to resolve all petitions submitted to the department by the legislature, and we only have 6 outstanding petitions. We received 2 petitions without attachments from the legislature, which was communicated to our colleagues so that they could submit the outstanding documents, which is ID copies and ID numbers. And we also have 4 petitions that are outstanding from City of Tshwane, which is 2 and 2 from Ekurhuleni. The 6 outstanding petitions were communicated to relevant colleagues from different stakeholders, and there has been a commitment that they will submit the outstanding documents. The categories are as follows. We've got verification of stands in extension 11, Mamelodi, which is 1, still outstanding from City of Tshwane. allocation of list of finished houses in Malibongwe Ridge, which is Joburg region, and 1 RDP house backyard dwellers, and 3 RDP house allocations. Next slide. Okay, the following slide, which is number 2, it outlines the petitions that are outstanding and the regions. We've got 1, as I've indicated, the verification of stands in Mamelodi, which is outstanding from the city of Tshwane, and 2 from Joburg, which is pre-allocation of list of finished houses, Malibongwe Ridge. The other one is Joburg as well, yeah, RDP house backyard dwellers. Yeah, that will be all, thank you.
Honorable members, that is the presentation of the outstanding petitions from the department. Is there anyone want to ask questions with regard to that? Member Shinema?
No, Chair, it's not so much a question, it's just a request. Again, the term of office is coming to the end, and I serve on the Standing Committee on Petitions, and I think one of the things that we are concerned about is that we don't leave behind petitions that have not yet been dealt with. So I think we just want to ask the department to prioritize these and deal with them as quickly as possible, so that we don't leave behind for the next committee incomplete petitions. That's all. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you, Member Schneeman. Member Mokhale?
Thanks, Chair. I just want to find out what the department is doing, because on the status of some petitions, the department is saying they are waiting for responses from municipalities. And I can see that these ones of Joburg, they were submitted in 2023 October, and some are November, and so on. What is the department doing into making follow-ups on those? Because we know that most of the time municipalities will delay on responses. Is there anything that you do to speed up the process?
Thank you, Member Mohale. I think acting DG, because we don't have the correct record in terms of what was outstanding, and the chairperson of the petition committee the last time was saying to me that in some of the petitions, the petitioners are not happy about the response from the department. I think as soon as we reconcile in terms of what we have received today and what was received in the last time and what I've received from the chairperson of the petition committee, Advocate Lizwalo, we will send some of the information to the department so that we get the response, as the way Member Schneeman is saying, that we don't want to leave the end of the administration without 6 administration, without responding to some of the issues which have been raised by the petitioner. It is difficult for us to reconcile, because we need to reconcile. Because in terms of the report from the legislator, DS, it was said that human settlement is the biggest department which is receiving a lot of petition from the petitioners, and the responses sometimes are not genuine in terms of the petitioners. Please. It can be 6. It can be. It can be 6. Over to you, Sisi.
Hello. Chairperson, We are referring to what we have received from the previous and current financial year. We tried by all means to respond, and if I were to further explain to the chairperson is that there has been a batch of petitions sent to us date back in from 1996 to date. That we did not include in this report. We thought that will be dealt with separately because we had previously in one of our meetings explained and tried to give our approach in terms of how we're going to resolve those petitions. We've already started with the 142 that we received, and from the 142 that we received, 141 all fall within Ekurhuleni region. We only have one, which is that goes to, we've already sent to Citibank region. We have an approach that we're going to deal with that, and we were given a time frame to respond to. That was 6 months to respond to those petitions.
Okay, thanks for that. Honorable members, any follow-up? In the absence of the follow-up, the petitions which we are talking about, stakeholders, AMAOT committees, those are the petitions which have been sent to the legislature. And the petition committee send them to the department and also CC the portfolio committee in terms of what they have received from different petitioners. So today the department was supposed to, they are responding to us in terms of what they've received from the portfolio committee of the petition. And it doesn't mean that we are addressing petitions which are sending them to the municipalities, only the ones which have been sent to us to the legislator. Thanks for the response. After we have reconciled, we request Jackie to send a letter to the office of the MEC so that we should be able to get the outstanding and get the responses so that we finalize it with Advocate Lizwalo. He should not complain to us that I'm still waiting for the response from the department with regard to the petition sent. By saying that, honorable members and the stakeholders, I will, before I do date of the next meeting, I will request Member Schneemann to thank the stakeholders for attending the meeting.
No, thanks very much, Chair. Before I do that, maybe, I hope you will allow me to, but the Standing Committee on Petitions, in fact tomorrow, the Gauteng Provincial Legislature will be launching the new e-petitions portal, which will enable community members to actually write their petition and lodge it online. Up until now, you've had to do a paper petition and then take it and deliver it to the legislature. From tomorrow, it'll be online. And I thought one should just indicate that it's the legislature has, it's something that's been on the cards for a while, and I think it's going to make it far easier and far quicker for residents in Gauteng. They can now submit their petitions online. So I thought I should indicate that. It's being launched tomorrow, and I'm sure one can then find it on a GPL website. But you'll actually be able to do it on your phone. Do the petition on your phone and submit it on your phone, which would make it a far quicker and more efficient process. Thought I should indicate that. But Chairperson, let me just on behalf of the Portfolio Committee, thank you, our guests that have been here with this morning. We know that the arrangements were changed because of things that are happening at the council in Germiston, but nevertheless, as a committee, we're indeed grateful that you were able to get here. We know that some didn't get here, but thank you for coming. Maybe also to thank the department once again. Thank you for always availing yourselves and being willing and able to engage with us. I'm not sure when the next committee meeting is and when we engage with you again. Maybe it'll be after 29th of May. I don't know. But thank you for prevailing yourselves. And then also to, I think, just express appreciation to the interpreters at the back there. Thank you for the services that you provide. Always valuable to those who are joining us. Thank you very much. And I guess also thank you to all the service providers, the sound, the screens, etc., the cameras there. Thank you to everybody and to the sign language interpreters as well. Thank you very much for the service that you provide as well. Over to you, Chair. Thanks.
Okay, thanks, Member Snyman. Honorable members, the date of the next meeting, if I'm right, is the 19th of March, and it will be a visual meeting where we are going to adopt the report for the report which will be serving in the sitting, and we will also, if possible, get some of the briefing in terms of the issues which were outstanding from the department. The meeting is adjourned. Thanks every member for availing yourself. I know it's a difficult time. Everyone is concentrating on the party work. And let us not forget that on the 29th of May is a voting day. Allocate time for yourself to go and vote. The meeting is adjourned. They are saying that lunch is served. You will get your lunch when you go outside, and tell your councillors, "Kuti siyabonga, ne?" Thanks.